Wow, they actually did it. Oppo have kind of been killing it in the foldable game with impressive designs that prioritize thinness and impressive cameras with software that makes multitasking feel a little bit less cramped. And the latest in their Find N lineup literally addresses some pain points that have plagued the category since the beginning, and maybe a couple of more recent developments. I clearly have my script on here, so let's continue. With no dip in the screen, have we reached the peak of foldable bliss? Well, let's find out. It's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? This right here is the Oppo Find N6. Foldables in general have gotten better at feeling like regular phones when closed, and the Find N6 continues the trend after Oppo really impressed everyone last year with the thinness of the N5. My titanium colorway really speaks to my propensity toward millennial grays, and I particularly like the smooth matted finish of the rear that does inevitably get covered up with some sort of case. By design, a foldable kind of requires a little bit of wasted space when the phone is closed, since all of that area is needed for the larger inner display to actually sprawl out properly. Credit where credit is due, Oppo minimizes these areas as much as possible so that when you're using the phone, like a standard bar, it doesn't really feel like you're fighting around the extra elements. And speaking of those elements, this entire phone actually sports a high IP rating of 59. High durability in and out of phones like this didn't used to be a thing that we took for granted, but here we are with sturdy foldables. Now, with all that said, my average-sized hands still have a little bit of trouble navigating around these taller designs. The whole taller rather than wider design choice is super common, so it's not like I haven't gotten used to it. But then Oppo decided to put one of their buttons near the top of this right side. Look how far up this is. So cue the precarious phone sliding to reach that button whenever I need to open the camera, because the power button can no longer be used as a double tap to open the camera. So if you've ever wondered why I advocate so hard for phone grips like an O-Snap, it's precisely for the sake of reaching the upper parts of these phones comfortably. The problem here is that none of the accessories that came with my review unit actually provide any of the magnets for those accessories. It's not a hard problem to solve, but it is a gripe of mine nonetheless. And as we get into the main character of this foldable story, obviously it's inside here, I will mention that while the hinge feels really quite sturdy and can stick to plenty of different angles, the outer display can't really be used for angling up for viewing stuff. Flex mode seems to be the way that Oppo really wants you to engage with anything you might want to display on the side, which I guess is okay, but that does somewhat eliminate using the front camera for propped up selfies. It's a good thing then that the inner display camera is the exact same as the one on the outer display. But then the outer display is what the phone has to sit on, and whatever surface underneath it, of course, in order to do some sort of propped up photography. That's a little bit precarious for the outer display. But okay, I know what you're here for. Those of you who have lamented even the prospect of foldables because of the dips in the middle of those big screens can finally rejoice because Oppo figured it out. Let me just say that while I have always known people to look at creases as deal breakers, I never fully understood why. But now that we don't really have one here on the Oppo Find N6, I think it might be hard for me to go any other way now. Does it change the way I fundamentally engage or view my content? Not really, but it does seem a bit of an engineering marvel to open up the Find N6 and admire how flat the inner display can get. It's not 100% perfect, as you can see there's a barely perceptible slope, but damn does it get close. And it's honestly an engineering feat because Oppo actually investigated the typical hinge that you would have on foldables and addressed as many of the flaws as possible. Right down to actually filling the gap with 3D printed material so that all of those tiny dips are filled in. That's a ton of work to remedy what might seem like a small problem to existing foldable fans, and I'm sure that most of those people, those foldable fans, will hope that other manufacturers will address their foldables in a similar way as Oppo's. It's kind of wild what companies think of in order to address these little problems. Well, little relatively speaking. Also, the hinge, even after thousands and thousands of fold and unfolds, apparently should still maintain that smoothness. So now you have a no compromises, tablet-sized folding screen in the pocket, a great-looking AMOLED display on both sides and sizes, actually. It's my firm belief that when you're using any foldable, it should be a habit for you to open the phone up when you're sharing something with someone else. That's where I get some personal joy out of the Find N6, honestly. Like showing my girlfriend a picture of her I just took. Open the phone up. Sharing a funny meme with a friend. open it up, and it's easier for them and anyone else around to enjoy. Or maybe I'm opening the phone up to watch the latest BTS music video with my army girlfriend. Yep, I've definitely done that too. Oppo also decided to just address a couple of pain points that have come up recently in the foldable space: stylus or pen support. There's actually a digitizer in both screens of the Find N6 that can be used with this, the Oppo Pen, which sits right in a case over here that also charges the Bluetooth pen via wireless charging coming from the phone into the case and then into the stylus, since you can see these little contacts here on the side. Again, some wild ideas are actually manifesting in the way that Oppo is approaching these problems. Now, while writing on a smartphone is not something I typically do, I found the experience satisfactory for a couple of gratitude journals. The thing I really appreciate is that the pen can be used as a shutter release for the camera, which adds to the experience of propping the phone up for taking pictures. But of course, the main use case for me, perhaps unsurprisingly, has been for gaming on this big screen. There are a lot of great indie games getting ported over, perhaps officially and unofficially, and there are also some AAA mobile titles that have been releasing as well, so there's a ton of fun to be had here. The games are supported by a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip that might not be the maxed out version of the processor, but it is still able to keep up with everything. So I'm over here social media scrolling, getting distracted by YouTube, playing my new favorite games of Slay the Spire 2 and The Division, Resurgence, doing some emulation, I'm trying to play Pokemon Black right now, and posting on all of the social media networks at the same time via ColorOS's fantastic multitasking layer. So performance remains top tier, which makes this foldable feel like a phone that can kind of do it all. Okay, since I brought up the gaming, I have to bring up another design trope. Foldables are just not that easy to put into the many accessories that I would want to use in order to play one of the many games that's in the Play Store. I mentioned earlier the lack of magnets on the phone, but also on any of the cases that ended up coming with my review unit. So that kind of eliminates certain solutions like M-Cons in order to play games with a controller on here. And it also takes away an easy way of kickstanding the larger display up so that I can play with like an external controller, like a DualSense or something like that. And then the shape of a foldable just makes it a little bit tough for them to comfortably fit in clamp controllers like this. You could certainly try, but it's not going to land flush, and thus it just won't work. So while there are a lot of really great games coming out in the Google Play Store, being able to play them in the various ways that I would like to, well, the nature of a foldable just kind of gets in the way of that. And of course, we have to talk about the AI of it all. You have Gemini here that is easily accessed either from a swipe up from the corner or holding down the power button. Circle to search is definitely still a thing on here. It's probably the feature that I use the most. And then you have all of Oppo's additions. I'll keep it pretty simple here and say that while there are a couple of AI features that I have found plenty of utility in, the sheer amount of ways that the software in ColorOS tries to take the reins from me, those features will ultimately collect dust. Sound recording meetings and briefings and having them transcribed and summarized, yeah, that's definitely something I can get down with. But pretty much everything else that is inside of this Oppo AI page right here simply remains there, used maybe once in a blue moon. Now, ColorOS at large is a generally inoffensive operating system to use on the daily, even if it's a little bubbly. Notifications that scroll across my games like a stocks ticker, those are fine, as are the multitasking features like the side panel, which opens up extra apps in a floating window. Obviously, the star of the ColorOS story is still the free flow window multitasking, and honestly, that makes up for any of the supposed bloat that Oppo's take on Android might have otherwise. But another pain point of foldables has been the cameras. Whether or not it's because there's simply not enough room to fit some high-powered optics or sensors in the thinner back half of a foldable, but the fact of the matter is that folding phones simply don't stand up to their regular bar phone counterparts. I mean, you can't really expect the Find N6 to stand up to the camera quality of like the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, for example. But Oppo really tried in the Find N6 and honestly gets closer to narrowing that gap. In sheer numbers, the cameras are already impressive. The 200 megapixel main sensor unsurprisingly remains the best one to use for shallower depth of field in pictures and videos, though the 50 megapixel telephoto lens does a good job of creating that depth by nature of zooming. The 50 megapixel ultra-wide rounds out the high megapixel counts on the main cameras, which certainly all sound great on the spec sheet. It's the ultra-wide that tends to fall short in lower light situations, but that's expected. However, it is the one that I would gladly use alongside the foldable form factor to do some smartphone vlogging. Almost all foldables provide this benefit, but the quality of the cameras really does make the Find N6 feel like the foldable to reach for when I want to review and share results on a larger display afterwards. Alright, got kind of a fun one coming up. In San Diego, the Birch Aquarium apparently is having a little bit of a tour, a little bit of a collab with Animal Crossing. Let's use the portrait mode on, what are some of the characters? Tom Ford? What? Tom Nook?
TK Slider? Isabel?
Clearly I have never played Animal Crossing. This meant plenty of different lighting scenarios, often backlit. I found that the Find N6 camera was able to balance the scenes out pretty well, providing enough contrast to accurately capture how the light is always coming from behind people looking at the fish, while making sure that the people weren't just shadows or silhouettes with no discernible features. And of course it was San Diego, so sunny skies meant getting out to the water and enjoying some perfect lighting. That was when the zooms and the ultra-wides really got to shine. Getting farther and farther with the zoom does mean that there are some post-processing elements introduced, so they aren't perfect recreations of the scenes, but with all that said, the pictures and video from the La Jolla shoreline still looked good to me. Oh, and the ultrawide really came in handy when the Animal Crossing characters took up literally half of the frame. Thank goodness I had this phone for that selfie. Lower light scenarios, like an intimate small musical performance by The Midnight at the Grammy Museum, showed how the main sensor is still the one to use the most when avoiding noise and motion blur as much as possible. Zooming into the optical level of 3 times for the telephoto kept pictures from looking too watercolored, as they tend to do once processing has to step in beyond that, maybe beyond the 6x. Lower light situations like this are further exposed as less than ideal when going into video, but still, it did an admirable job for a foldable, and I think that's saying a lot. One thing I didn't do much at all is play around with these filters that are down here. Black and white photos might be pretty fun to get with some of these color profiles, but I just didn't really mess around with them. And honestly, the pictures and videos coming straight out of the camera before applying those filters, there was already a fair amount of contrast and drama to most of them that I was pretty satisfied with the results. But that doesn't mean that the camera can't be something you can use when you want to get creative. There's a lot of options in there, and with all of the different filters, you might as well just like swap over once in a while and see what kind of results you get. That's just the joy of photography, and now with the Oppo Find N6, you can reliably get some fun results using a foldable. So the Find N6 manages to hit a ton of marks that foldables tend to strive for, so what's the catch? Well, it's one that I'm sure you're probably pretty used to when it comes to brands like Oppo. It's the lack of availability. I'm used to phones like this never making it stateside, though the rumors and news surrounding OnePlus really make this sting a little bit more. The trend of getting Oppo's great offerings repackaged into a solid offering in the West was already broken by last year's Find N5. But now it seems like we're not going to get any of that at all anymore. Focusing specifically on this phone, however, it's also a bummer that a global release actually doesn't include much of the globe. It's just a shame that Oppo's achievements here have to be relegated to only some markets, because pretty much every other foldable should take some notes from the Find N6 and how Oppo took established quirks of the category and decided to, well, do something about them. The lack of a crease will already be a big selling point for people who have held off on foldables until now, and that's great. But anyone that has followed the foldable space knows there's always some sort of compromise to create those pocketable tablets. But look as I might, there are very few complaints that I have with how Oppo handled their latest folding smartphone, and now I'm a bit hard-pressed to actually use others in the future if they don't at least try to match the Find N6 in certain aspects. What's crazy about all these adjustments is that they feel simple to the end user, but clearly took a ton of effort and engineering to actually achieve. Some creativity had to be employed to make sure that this phone could do it all, and now you can call the Find N6 a flagship foldable. It is certainly the one that I would recommend, well, if you can get your hands on it. Whew, from there though, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thanks so much for pouring one out with me again today. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.